Hey everyone, this is Jeff Herring, and I have a question for you. Can you take two articles and convert it into a new digital empire dedicated to helping women in very powerful ways? We're going to answer that question in just a moment. Welcome, everybody, to the Content Profit Show, episode 33. This is Jeff Herring, your host, and we have a very special guest today, and we'll get to the main event in a moment. If you are listening to this live or during this week, there's a place you need to get to if you're not already there. jeffherring.com/Tom, T-O-M. jeffherring.com/Tom. And I'm one of 31 sessions there this week in Tom's first ever virtual summit. And, I've been listening to stuff every day. It is super powerful. It's free. Tom does 5 master classes. I'm doing one the first time ever in public for free. I've talked about 21 income streams from just one article. And Tom and I kind of end up doing it together because he's done so many products that way too. So catch it at jeffherring.com/Tom. It's different in that you don't have to sit around all day waiting for the show you want. Every morning at 9 o'clock, everything for that day is released. You got it for 48 hours. And they've even come up with a way to, so you can get them permanently for a really, really good price. So there's that. And let me introduce you to Annette Presley.
Hi.
Hi, Annette. I'm so glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
You know what I have to ask you, right?
Yes, but go ahead.
What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
It's your last name. Any relation?
Oh, Presley. Okay. Yes. I'm his 5th cousin.
For real?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, that would be cool.
I just tell people that.
I love it. See, you got a good sense of humor. When I tell people I was in 4 schools in 7th grade, they always say, "Was your dad in the military?" No, he worked for the federal government. That's true. Okay. But then sometimes I'll say he was an assassin. And people go, "Really?" And depending on the situation, I'll start making up stories. But I mean, he was a paper pusher for HUD. So, but it's fun to have fun with people, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So it's like I should come up with some story. And, 5th cousin is plausible. So
5th cousin works, generation wise. And that you wrote the original lyrics to "That's All Right, Mama." The song you broke out on. I think that's a plan. I like that. Annette, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I am a dietitian and functional nutritionist and theta healer, and I manage women's hormones so they can be the high-performing rock star at work, the fun, energetic mom at home, and the passionate lover in the bedroom.
I like that. As we say here in the South and probably in Texas too, that dog will hunt. I love one of the things, one of your names, the hormone handler. That's really cool. We'll show that on the website in a little bit. So what we're going to do is start with the articles, talk about how to convert them and what to convert them into. Before we do that, we're going to look at the website, and then we'll walk through some ideas here and have you ready to go by the end of the show. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but I guess it's okay that it did. It wasn't planned. All right, so there we go. Optimize your hormones. The hormone handler. See, this is great stuff, folks, and you're going to want to check out Annette. So let's go over to the first article about stress. And there's somewhere in here where you talk about all the different effects where people think it's something else, right? Mm-hmm. And I so relate to that. What it reminded me of is summer of '82. I worked in a summer camp for, struggling kids down in South Florida. And we were coming back on the bus one day on I-95 when this 12-year-old Haitian kid, and it's important that he's Haitian to the story, decided he was going to crawl out the window at 65 miles an hour. I thought that probably wasn't a good idea. And I'd been trained how to restrain kids if you got to. And so, I restrained him. And I mean, it was a long way back to where we were going and he was struggling. I went to change position. He bit into my left side and would not let go. I mean, it's the only time I've ever struck a kid because I couldn't get him off. I said, listen, I don't want to hit you. I've never done it before. But if you don't let go, I'm breaking your jaw. And, got him off. The next summer, I'm back in Tallahassee, and I'm doing private practice. I'm doing grad school. I'm helping run a drug treatment center. And one day, I just canceled a bunch of stuff and went out and took a walk in the woods because I was stressed out. And I'm like, all right, maybe this will help. But then I started waking up in the mornings. You'll relate to this with what the work you do. My hands and feet were tingling when I woke up. And, over a few days, it got up to my face. And then by the time I was on vacation at the beach, I was playing volleyball in the pool. And I'd go up to make a shot. And the only reason I knew I was standing is because I wasn't drowning, because I couldn't feel it. I mean, it was that numb. And I went to my doctor, who was a friend, and I said, I want you to give me everything. I'm scared I've got AIDS because of that. Remember when AIDS was intravenous drug users, gay folks, and Haitians, right? Mm-hmm. So I got it when that kid bit me, right? And Carl's like, it's stress, Jeff. I'm like, give me everything. He gave me everything, incredibly healthy. It was stress.
Yeah.
Glad I got to learn that at 25, But tell us a little bit about how you see stress affecting women.
So stress is like the match that lights the fire and burns everything up. So,
I like that.
Yeah, it's really the beginning of every illness you could imagine. And so I actually have women fill out a stress tracker. So based on certain ages, like 0 to 2 and like 2 to 5 or whatever, they list stresses that they had in their life and then symptoms that they had during that same time.
Uh-huh.
It's always correlated. Stress always correlates with symptoms. And so it can cause pretty much everything. What we think of as hormone problems actually starts with stress because it depletes your minerals like magnesium and copper.
Right.
And those are what we need. We need those in order for the body to function. So
what percentage of time when there's hormone issues is it related to or even caused by stress?
Sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
In terms of percentages, what percent of hormone issues in women are caused or related to stress?
Oh, I would say 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was hoping that was true. That's going to help us do good here. All right. So this is about stress. And I really think this will be a good get started here module in a course. And I absolutely love this line here. I still have a bulging disc, but I don't have any pain. How is that possible? I dealt with my thoughts about my circumstances and healed emotionally. You dealt with the stress. That's huge, and that's a hook that'll bring a lot of people in. This next article is all about, now you come up with some pretty cool titles. Minerals or your hormones peers. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so hormones are like teenagers. And teenagers are heavily influenced by their peers, and that's the way it is with hormones. And so minerals are the peers of hormones. So like with your teenager, you want them to hang out with the kids that are getting good grades and, that volunteer and do all the, they're polite to their elders and all that. Right. You don't want them hanging out with the kids smoking behind the gym or shoplifting, because you'll end up, with a daughter who gets pregnant or something, or in jail, right? We don't want that.
Bad thing.
So, yeah. So we want the hormones to be hanging out with the minerals that are supporting them and causing them to behave. Because they basically follow the actions of the minerals.
I love it. This. I'm learning stuff because I'm not a doctor. Never played one on TV. I'm a guy. I've always been a guy. I don't want that surgery. So this is fascinating to me. I like the way you've divided it up. Maryland and the Munster. I love it. So there's all these different ones. Iodine and the hormones. See, each one of these could be a a module. Halogen. Am I saying that right? Halogen.
Yeah.
See, I see. You know what I think of when I see the word iodine? You probably remember this. And I tell my kids about this, and they think I'm making things up. Not that I would ever do that. But you remember when you got a cut, and your parents would get the little bottle of mercurochrome or iodine, and you put the orange stuff on it? Yeah. Okay, I'm not the only one. Good. So, okay. So let's go over here and let's see what we can build out. Now, this is just a rough draft. It's not written in stone. We can play with it. Okay. But what I'm thinking is this article, these two articles, lend themselves very well to a course. Okay. And a lot of it's already created. Okay. Your get started here is that first article. And what you want to do in a get started here module is let them experience an early win, a quick win. And taking that stress tracker, filling that out is going to give people, at least some, oh, no wonder, right? And then you've got, I mean, what do you think? Would we divide it by these different minerals, or what else could we do modules on?
Yeah, we could do a module on copper and iron.
Okay.
Magnesium.
Okay.
Those are the three main minerals. Vitamin A would be important because that actually kind of starts the whole thing.
Okay. And so what are some of the symptoms of deficiencies in those things?
So mineral deficiencies can actually manifest as pretty much anything. And so it'll manifest differently in different people. But sometimes it'll be like fatigue, pain in joints and different things like that, brain fog,
okay,
inability to sleep.
I know a lot of people with all of those. Another approach to this would be to take what I call a 3 stages approach: mild, moderate, severe. And I came across that, gosh, almost 30 years ago, when I was writing a column for the local newspaper. And I'd noticed that friends, myself, clients would start getting anxious about the work week on Sunday night, right? And so I thought, okay, that'll be a good article. So I made up a thing called Sunday Night Syndrome, SNS, okay? Mild, moderate, severe, with signs and symptoms and what to do. Wrote an article about it, okay? Now remember, this is 95, way before everything was instant like it is right now. So about 10 days later, I start getting these letters and phone calls that are saying, where can I find your book on this? Where did you do your research? And I'm thinking to myself, I made this up about 12 days ago, and it kind of really drove home the power of content. And that was back then in the newspapers. It's even more powerful for your business, Annette, now. So, you could look at the very, what we could do? You could have like 3 of the most popular symptoms. Okay. A module for each, and then mild, moderate, severe, what it looks like, and then what to do. Okay. So there's lots of ways we can go with that. And that could even be 2 courses. The easiest way to do a module, this is where some people get scared. Well, what do I put in it? Okay. Well, you do a video talking about it. If you've written an article about it, you've already got the script. Okay. You're just doing it like we're talking. And then, the article is a checklist, which this really lends itself to, kind of like the, what is it called? The stress tracker.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a perfect one, and other stuff like that. A template, if it makes sense, maybe not here. And I bet you could do a Q&A on this until the wee hours of the morning, with all the questions about this, right?
Oh, for sure.
I once experienced something like that when I took Alex Mondozian's Tell Us Some of Our Secrets back in the day. I was just starting out, and I wanted to get on his radar. And so he would teach for 2 hours on a Monday night and then start the Q&A, which would sometimes go to 2 and 3 in the morning.
Wow.
I had like 7 and 8 o'clock clients, and I'm like, but I would hang around to get my question answered, and we ended up, partnering on some stuff. So I think this would have that many questions easily. And the other thing is to pay attention to when you're getting the client's questions. That's one of the reasons I go to workshops occasionally, that I already know what's being presented, but I want to listen to the questions, because the questions turn into products. And so your audience would be telling you, they'd be voting for what they wanted next. Does that make sense for a course?
Yeah.
What would you start on? Would you want to start on the 3 stages, or would you want to start on each mineral? Which way you leaning?
I think the minerals.
Okay.
Well, I mean, either way would work.
Yeah. Well, we could find a way to combine them, or that could be 2 courses. We'd have to, talk a little bit more, and we will, about how to do that. But as soon as I looked at your 2 articles in your website, I thought, oh my goodness, you've got something here. And I mean that in 2 ways. One, in building a business, and 2, and maybe even more importantly, making a difference. Because I was looking through some of your testimonials, and you've helped a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been a dietitian for over 30 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm legitimately an expert.
You mean you didn't go to a webinar or read a book and decide to teach about it?
No, I actually went to school.
So you're one of the rare people out there, because there's 3 kinds of people online. The first one is what we were just joking about. They've watched a webinar, read a book, gone to a workshop, and now they're going to teach it. They've never done it, but they're going to teach it. And I recommend my RLH response, which is run like hell. Second set of people, they're teaching it, they've done it, they're teaching it, but they're no longer doing it. And you can learn some things from those folks, but you're not going to learn the current stuff. Folks like you and me that have done it, we're teaching it, and we're still doing it, or who I listen to, and you're set up beautifully that way. We can work that into different articles for you too, to up your expert ability. All right, this is something cool that we can do, and we're going to talk more after the show. Any questions at this point?
Oh no, I'm loving this.
Are you? What are you loving about it?
Well, because I think I tend to over deliver things, because I just have so much information, and so I never know like what's enough, like, that kind of thing.
Yep. One of the things I'm going to teach you how to do is how to topic slice, and that's to take a topic and slice it into deliverables. Okay. So that people get what they paid for, and there's so much more, because creative people that are, that care like you and I, that's the biggest danger, is over delivering.
Mm-hmm.
And I one of my first memberships, I actually found out you could over deliver, because when people were pulling out, they were saying, I just can't keep up. And I mean, I was doing 4 or 5 teleseminar trainings a month, and it was a lot of fun, because my then 14-year-old son was asking the questions for the Q&A, and it was a blast, but it was too much. So yeah, we'll play with that. All right. So, hey, Annette, thank you for being here and bringing this really valuable stuff.
Yeah,
And
you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
oh, my pleasure. Thanks for being such a great guest. Hang on, because we're going to talk afterwards. And folks, if you want to be sitting in Annette's seat, not at her home, but although Texans are very, hospitable.
We're friendly.
Yeah, yeah. So are Georgians. No, if you want to be on the show like Annette has been and get the same results, here's where you want to go. thecontentprofitshow.com/guest. How's that for creative? thecontentprofitshow.com/guest. Now, those of you listening live that want to catch this within the hour, this will be at thecontentprofitshow.com/E33 for episode 33. And if you're listening to this, or watching this on the replay, where the heck were you? It's fun live, but we're glad you're here. And if you comment, let us know that you caught the replay. All right. Thank you very much again, Annette. And folks, we're going to wrap this up with a little music while you get ready to go use this stuff.